Good morning. I've been thinking a little bit about the food supply that I have. I'm not so much concerned that I'm going to run out. Uh, I'm more concerned that I actually have a little bit stored away that I really haven't gotten around to using. I recently found out from somebody that ramen noodles can actually go bad. I didn't know that. So that's a little bit concerning, seeing as I have quite a bit of them, and I would hate to just have to throw them out. That being said, I'm going to try to go an entire day eating ramen noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, I don't plan on eating just these. I'm planning on upcycling them somehow, making some kind of suitable thematic meal for each of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which will, of course, incorporate ramen noodles. I don't necessarily plan on using the little flavor packet that comes with it. However, I am planning on using the noodles for some kind of dish. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm really just going to do some experiments and see what happens. I get that these might not be the healthiest things in the world, and not everyone has really a taste for them. I know that recently, I guess not too long ago, I I developed a little bit of a distaste or a reluctance for these as well. I'm not really sure why that is. Underneath, it's really just pasta. It's just, processed wheat into some kind of noodle. I don't really know why that would. I don't know why that would cause any sort of distaste or anything. I'm thinking mostly it's just, the preservatives and whatever is put into here just to make these last for a while. So that's why I decided to just go ahead and pre-soak these noodles to hopefully try and get out any sort of unnecessary stuff that might make these a little bit less edible. I already gave these a soak last night for at least 20 minutes, and it seemed like it did something. I dunked these, and the liquid that came off of it was quite a bit oily. I don't know if you can see that right there. I have no idea what that is, but I personally don't think I need it for what I'm using it for. If I can get all of this stuff off, my hope is that I can just use these like any other noodles. If these ingredients are correct, these really just are flour-based noodles made out of wheat and whatever sort of stuff you put in pasta. I've never made pasta. I have plenty of experience eating it though. And I think that's what this is supposed to be. So that's what I'm going to try and use. Getting a little bit of a late start this morning, but I still consider it morning. That being said, I'm going to start with the traditional, bacon and eggs and pasta. I'm going to combine these all together into this here frying pan. And I may or may not add some more things as I go. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming, or I would think that you have probably at least made eggs. If you haven't, it's not too hard. I'll just go ahead and give you a quick tutorial. First off, we're going to start with our butter. Just throw that in our pan. Actually, it might help if I turn my grill on. Oven, stove, whatever, I don't know. The heaty thing. And there's two. If you don't have butter, you can probably just go ahead and use some kind of oil. That's also fine too. Add around a bit. It does not look nice. Okay, now I'm going to add in my chicken seeds. Yeah, it's a little bit hot. I'm gonna turn it down. That is already cooking fast. I feel like doing scrambled. I'm not going to add in my pig meat. I think I'm going to first maybe tear these up into little smaller bits. I'm going to try to go for some kind of, I don't know, stew or I don't know what you would call it. But I want it to be like a, I don't know, connected all-together dish. And I can't really do that with giant chunks of meat. So I'm going to make these smaller chunks of meat. If you have a knife and cutting board, that's probably good too. Move that around a little bit. And now I'm going to add in the noodles. I think what I'm going for right now is some kind of breakfast stir fry. I may or may not have wanted to add these in first and started cooking these, but it's too late now. That kind of looks like something so far. And since this is stir fry, I'm going to go ahead and do some frying. I just had an idea. Since I'm planning on doing this in kind of like a stir fry imitation, I'm going to try to use some stir fry type oil. This stuff makes some really good fried rice, by the way. We've got our basic bulk of our dish right now, but at this point there's no seasoning and therefore no flavor to it. So we've got some options. What I typically like to do is I like to add, rosemary to my fried eggs. It tastes pretty good. However, I don't think it's really going to fit with this kind of Asian flair that I'm going for. Usually salt and pepper is a pretty safe bet to add to pretty much anything. However, let's see what else we've got. I've had these vegetables or whatever. It looks like parsley and green onion. I've had these in my freezer for quite some time. However, I don't really feel like cutting them up right now. Instead, I think I'll try using them for something in dinner. Well, not only that, I just don't want to get too crazy with all the ingredients, too. I like for this to hopefully be easy enough for any of you watching to follow. I just realized that sounded kind of bad. I apologize. Okay, this looks perfect. I recently finished up these little snacks the other day. And now that's all that's left is just, some dust and really just like mushroom crumbles. And shiitake mushrooms are Asian, I think. Combined with the fact that it's mostly salt in there, I'm going to try and dump these crumbs on here. Just all over these noodles and eggs and things. I think that might work. It's kind of frying. Though I really don't want to start ratcheting up the heat and, burning things. And goes the mushroom dust. This looks pretty good so far. It almost kind of has a fried rice look to it. Hopefully it tastes somewhat decent. just gonna try a little bit first, see how, find out how it tastes. Alright, so here's what I ended up with. It's a fried rice looking type thing consisting of bacon and eggs and mashed up ramen noodles. I haven't tasted it yet, so here we go. It's not bad. It's still a little bit bland. Could probably use to have some more spices or maybe some kind of sauce on it. The ramen noodle taste is still a little bit bold. However, now that I'm thinking about it, it might just be the sesame oil that I'm tasting. Overall, I think I might actually end up eating all of this. It's not terrible. So I'd say that's a win. Oh yeah. I just added on some garlic, and it makes a world of difference. It's actually really tasty right now. Give it a shot. Tell me what you think. Well, I got busy doing stuff, and I think I might have gone a little bit past lunchtime. But now that I'm thinking about it, let's have some lunch. What I've got in mind for this lunch dish is a kind of a take on plain chicken and rice. Instead of rice, my starch is going to be noodles. So you can see I've already got a bowl, a second batch, kind of soaking and getting all of that extra, stuff out. So I'll just go ahead and start cooking these up together. For a third dish, I think I'm going to have some, healthy stuff, and I'm going to choose some green beans with that. I'm trying to follow kind of a formula of having I don't know, like 3 ingredients or so, and it's for me a pretty handy formula that I've found useful. And in case you're wondering, I learned this 3 ingredient formula from Life of Boris. He's got a couple of really good videos on cooking with the very basic essentials and surviving with what you got. I'll go ahead and throw a link to his channel in the description. And here we are back at the frying pan. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to try to change the consistency of my noodles right here. Since I'm going for a rice consistency, what I want to do is try to firm up these noodles that have been soaking in water and are now currently a little bit mushy. What I'm going to do is take a little tip from Boris, and I'm going to try and fry these to make them a little bit harder again. Our oil. And then we add our noodles. Okay, so what I'm going to do is chop these up into rice kernel sized pieces, and I'm just going to let that sit and do its thing. Meanwhile, I'm going to start getting my chicken and my vegetable taken care of. One thing I thought I'd mention while I'm opening these cans, you might want to make sure that you drain all the water out of them, because adding water to a already hot mix of oil tends to be a big, messy, burny, painful mess. So, drain your cans. It's starting to firm up. It looks like it's definitely changed color. And it actually smells like rice too. Go figure. I think I'll add in some seasoning now. That's what I typically do with rice anyway. Just add a little bit of salt and pepper and maybe some butter, and that's about it. Oh yeah. Adding a little bit of crispiness definitely helps improve the texture. The pasta's coming along nicely. And now I think I'm going to go ahead and add my meat. You may or may not be wondering how I'm coming up with all these different dish ideas, and
For me, I find it helpful to use kind of like a video game analogy for just the general structure of a dish. So if I could imagine my carbohydrate as kind of like my base character or whatever. In this case, I'm using pasta. You could also use potatoes or rice or whatever. Or it could be like grain, like bread. I don't know. I've got my main character, my base character class or whatever. And as for this meat, this chicken, I would consider this my primary weapon. Okay, so that's pretty good. You've got a character and he's got some kind of item. But right now, that's probably not the best situation to be in. So what I like to do is give my character a secondary weapon. And with that, I think I've got a pretty well-rounded character that I'm going to try and do something with. And like most games nowadays, feel free to add whatever sort of custom skins you want. I mean, you're the one that's going to be enjoying it, so do whatever you think is right. I've kind of run out of room in my pan, so I think I might have to go ahead and heat my beans on a separate plate. I'll just throw them in the microwave. Okay, that looks pretty good. The noodles look crispy, the chicken's nice and heated, and my beans are done. You can see I've got all three of my sides, all three of my courses. Got my chicken, my fake rice, which is actually my ramen pasta, and then I've got some veggies, so that way I can be healthy. Let's give these a taste, see how they turned out. The noodles are still a little bit soft. I think I would have preferred them to have just a little bit more crunch. However, at the same time, I don't tend to eat raw rice either. Overall, I think they're okay right now. They're mostly oily than anything. They could probably use to have some more seasoning. The chicken's pretty good. I can definitely taste the salt and pepper more on these. In fact, I just thought of something. Now, I don't know about you, but one side that I enjoy with chicken wings is blue cheese. Seeing as this is pretty close to chicken wings, I'm going to try this and see how it tastes. If it will come out of the jar. It's definitely very tasty on the chicken. It adds a nice cool and creamy taste to it. It's definitely pretty odd on... Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. My video card filled up again. I had to go delete some stuff. What was I saying? Right. So, I thought the chicken and the fake rice were not too bad. They were a little bit flavorless. So I went ahead and dug out some blue cheese because I enjoy this on chicken wings. It goes really well with the chicken. I just realized you can't see that. It goes really well with the chicken. And oddly enough, it goes pretty well with the pasta as well. It's kind of a weird sensation, but it really covers up any sort of remaining flavor that the ramen might have. There's still a little bit of that texture. You can still feel the consistency of the noodle, but there's no sort of lingering ramen flavor in there. I know that might be an issue with some people. It's definitely something with me. It's just something I've grown up in, kind of grown a distaste for ramen. So all of this experimentation is kind of surprising for me. Right, so there's lunch. Here's an update, roughly a half hour to an hour after I finished cooking and eating lunch. I was planning on using this third one for cooking dinner, but seeing as I literally vomited just now, I think I'm going to just skip this
fake food and go cook something else later. Sorry, but this is not happening.